Father, how do Catholics answer the claim that Our Lady had children other than our Lord?
Well, that's been answered for centuries and centuries. I mean, the Christians from the earliest centuries were dealing with that, and the only reason why it's a question is because in the Greek scriptures, and let's face it, the scriptures of the New Testament, except for the Gospel of St. Matthew, were all originally written in Greek. That is the original language in which the scriptures, the Gospels of Mark and Luke and John were written. Matthew's was originally, they believe, written in Hebrew. No trace of that original Hebrew of St. Matthew's Gospel remains, though. The oldest manuscripts or codicils, whatever we have, of St. Matthew's Gospel, those also are in Greek. Okay? And all of the epistles, the Acts of the Apostles, written by St. Luke in Greek, the book of the Apocalypse, sometimes called the book of Revelation these days, all written in Greek. And in the Greek, the Gospels sometimes refer to the brothers of Jesus, okay? And on that slim evidence, there are those who are insisting that Mary was not a perpetual virgin, but she had other children besides Jesus. And they do this, they're motivated, unfortunately, not by necessarily a pure desire to be true to the scriptures, but they're motivated in interpreting these words because they have something against Mary. And what they have against Mary is that we as Catholics honor her. And so they do not want her honored as a perpetual virgin. And so they gratuitously interpret the expressions, the adelphoi, the brothers of Jesus, meaning that they are blood brothers born of Mary. But the fact is, in the scriptures, but also in other writings of the day, we do find the extended family, the cousins and so on, referred to as brothers or brethren, as we would use the word brethren, our brethren, referring even to our extended family. There's sufficient evidence, even beyond our faith, to show that Mary did not have other children. They are not mentioned in their home. They're not mentioned when the Blessed Mother and St. Joseph went to find the child Jesus when he was lost at the age of 12. There's no other child mentioned traveling with them. And if they would have been younger children, there's no mention of them whatsoever being in the company of Mary and Joseph when they went that day's journey in the caravan into the desert from Jerusalem, and then a day's journey back and found our Lord at the age of 12 in the temple. No mention of children. There's no other mention of siblings in the home of Mary, Jesus' siblings. There's no mention of them at the cross. Of all places where you would expect them to be, it would be at the cross. And under the cross, it was Our Lady. St. John, the Apostle, he was one of those, remember, at the Garden of Gethsemane, who had disappeared into the darkness. He reappeared at some point to stand with Mary. And that's when our Lord very pointedly said, "Son, behold thy mother." And he confided Mary to John's care, but also John to Mary's care. And again, the indication is that there were no siblings of our Lord there. So why they would gratuitously interpret it, the expression of the adelphoi, the brothers of our Lord, as being born of Mary, instead of just his cousins and the extended family. Because we know our Blessed Lady had a sister, at least. Salome is referred to the sister of Mary. And she was one of the women, right? She was one of the women who was there also on Calvary. And she was one of the women also who went to the tomb on Easter Sunday. Anyway, so the fact that Jesus had cousins should not be surprising at all. But to interpret those words as proof positive that Mary had other children after she had Jesus, and she did not have her perpetual virginity, is not only gratuitous, but it is offensive, because it is a way of their detracting from Mary. And this is exactly what motivates them, sad to say. The very fact that they are Protestants shows that they are protestantes, they are protesting. This was the origin of their religion. And what they're protesting is what Catholics believe. So if we have Protestants protesting what Catholics believe, we shouldn't be surprised. Okay, but Catholics have always believed, going back to the earliest centuries, in the perpetual virginity of Our Lady. So much so that the false Gospel of St. James, one of these apocryphal Gospels, even made the point in the 2nd century, I think it was already, that when it refers to the brothers of Jesus, it refers to children who were born of Joseph in a previous marriage, that he was up in years. He was a widower when he married Mary. And there was a legend to that effect. It comes back from these earliest times. But the idea behind it was Mary did not have other children. That's the point that they were trying to make, regardless of whether one says, okay, this is an apocryphal gospel, and it's making this point that these brothers of Jesus were actually born of Joseph in a previous marriage, and he brought them to the marriage with Mary. But it shows the mindset of the early Christians that Mary was perpetually virgin. One of the most powerful things you could read on this subject, and anybody can go and find this, is St. Jerome's response to Helvidius. Helvidius was a heretic who was militating against the perpetual virginity of Mary and for the idea that these brethren of Jesus were his actual blood brothers born of Mary. And St. Jerome in the 4th century wrote a scathing rebuke of Helvidius, as St. Jerome was very known for being very poignant in his remarks. And he showed very, very powerfully that Jesus did not have other siblings born of Mary, that Mary was perpetually virgin, even as we Catholics believe and as all Catholics always believe.